The microwave clock glowed ominously 11:47 p.m., each digit pulse with a quiet mockery. Late meeting, she had said again. Networking and urgent deadline. The same rehearsed excuses, each one a carefully woven lie she expected me believe. I wasn't a fool, just a man desperately holding on to the remnants of what we once had. The house was silent, so silent that it only made a thunderous pounding in my chest more deafening. For the past hour I had paced the floor, each step pressing into the groaning floorboard beneath me, an echo of the unease eating away at my gut. I replayed every conversation, every missed call, every distracted glance. I had even tried to convince myself that maybe, just maybe, it was all in my head. But I knew better. Tonight was different. Tonight I had proof. A few weeks ago, I had installed security cameras under the pretense of an increase in neighborhood crime. A weak excuse but a necessary one. It wasn't the front door or the backyard I cared about. It was a hidden camera in the living room, discreetly tucked inside a potted plant. I had told her we could use it to check on the dogs while we were away. She had smiled when I suggested it, a smile I suspected was fake back then, a smile I knew was fake now. I sat on the couch, gripping the remote with trembling fingers. The TV screen flickered to life, displaying a live security feed. The living room was empty, bathed in the dim glow of moonlight spilling to the sheer curtains. Then the front door creaked open. The sound was barely noticeable, but it sent a jolt straight through me. A silhouette appeared in the hallway, The shape was familiar, yet suddenly foreign. Her footsteps were too light, too careful. The steps of someone trying not to be heard, the steps of someone with something to hide. She slipped off her heels near the door, letting them fall carelessly to the floor. Her face wasn't flushed, nor did she seem exhausted from a long, grueling meeting. Her hair was slightly messier than when she had left, her lips just a shade redder, and then there was the faintest trace of a smirk, small but undeniable, triumphant. I pressed pause. Frozen on the screen was a woman I barely recognize anymore. I inhaled sharply, the air catching my throat. It was time. For weeks I had been preparing for this moment, carefully orchestrating my response. Not an outburst, not a confrontation fueled by rage, but something colder, more deliberate. A precise dismantling of the elaborate web of lies she had spun around me. Everything was documented. Every whispered phone call, every secret meeting, every fabricated excuse. I had backups of it all, stored on hard drives, uploaded to cloud, secured in places she would never think to look. My phone buzzed. A message from my sister. Remember what we talked about. Stay strong. A weak smile tugged at the corner of my lips. She knew. She had seen the signs, the growing distance, the flicker of dishonesty in her eyes. She had tried to warn me, but I hadn't listened. I didn't want to, blinded by a love that had long since died. I pressed play on the screen. She entered the living room, her gaze landing on the television. Then she saw it. Her entire body went rigid. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Her lips parted but no sound came out. A shaky hand flew to her mouth as the color drained from her face. She was watching everything unfold, the footage I had pulled from the camera, a time-lapse from exactly 1 hour ago. Not just any recording, a recording of her and him, a colleague of hers, Mark, a hotel room, their bodies tangled together, a grotesque display of betrayal playing out in perfect clarity. Every detail preserved like a damning piece of evidence. The angle of the camera caught everything. Not just their faces, but the cheap hotel artwork on the wall, the brand of water bottles on the nightstand. Details so specific she would never be able to deny them. Her legs gave out. She collapsed on the carpet, her expression frozen in raw horror. Her carefully constructed mask of professionalism and innocence had shattered in an instant, leaving her exposed, vulnerable. Her voice trembled as she finally managed to whisper, "Where did you get that?" I didn't answer, didn't move. I just let the video play. I wanted her to witness every sickening detail. I needed her to feel the weight of her own betrayal. The footage ended and the screen faded to black. The silence of the room was suffocating, broken only by the sharp, uneven breaths racking her body. How long? Her voice barely carried, hoarse and fragile. I met her gaze, my own voice steady and unshaken. Long enough. No, please, it wasn't. It didn't mean anything. Tears streamed down her face. A desperate, pitiful attempt at earning my sympathy. But I had seen those tears before. They were never for me. Never for the damage she had done. I let out a slow breath. It meant enough for you to lie. Enough for you to betray me. That's all that matters. Reaching toward the end table, I pulled out a thick manila envelope and dropped it onto the coffee table with a heavy thud. Her eyes flicked to it, fear creeping into her expression. Hesitantly, she reached for it. Don't. My voice cut through the air, firm and unyielding. Not yet. I picked up the envelope myself, opening it with deliberate slowness. Inside were copies of everything. Time-stamped footage from the security cameras, photographs she didn't know I had taken, undeniable proof of the nights she claimed she was at the gym but was actually with him, bank statements exposing the extravagant purchases she had tried to conceal, emails she foolishly assumed were private. Each one printed, each one condemning. Her face drained of color as I spread the evidence before her. This is just paperwork, she stammered, grasping at anything to downplay the truth. It's not the full story, there's more to it. I said nothing. Instead, I turned and walked toward my desk. From a drawer, I retrieved a USB drive. Holding it up between my fingers, I met her wide, tear-glossed eyes. This, I said, my tone as cold as the air between us, contains everything, the security footage, the texts, the calls. But more importantly, it holds every single secret, every single lie you ever told me, every humiliating message you sent your friends about me, every insult you hurled behind my back, every time you mocked my family, every betrayal organized, time-stamped, and labeled. Her breath hitched. What are you going to do? She whispered, voice trembling, the tears now spilling freely. I smiled, but it wasn't a smile of warmth. It never touched my eyes. I'm going to make sure everyone sees the real you. Her face crumpled. She had never envisioned this moment, had never considered that I could be just as ruthless as she had been. She had convinced herself that I was weak, that I would simply fade away in quiet suffering. She was wrong. I wasn't weak, I was just kind. And she had shattered that kindness beyond repair. Please, she choked out. Desperation laced every syllable. No, don't do this. What do you want? What can I do? I lifted a hand and pointed toward the door. Leave. Now, take your things. You have until 10 a.m. tomorrow to clear them out. If you're still here after that, I'll call the police. Her eyes locked onto mine, filled with disbelief, but I was done. She thought she could manipulate me, that she could smooth things over with sweet words and empty charm. But she didn't realize I wasn't playing that game anymore. I was done. Slowly, she pushed herself to her feet, her legs still unsteady beneath her. She didn't offer another excuse, didn't attempt to plead her case. She just walked to the door, leaving her heels abandoned on the floor, an unspoken sign of her rushed departure. I watched her go, expecting to feel some satisfaction, some victory, but all that settled inside me was a strange hollow quiet. The anger, the hurt, it was still there, but something had shifted. It wasn't alive anymore. I wasn't celebrating. I was just relieved. Reaching for the remote, I turned off the TV, and the security feed vanished into darkness. The silence that followed was heavy, but different this time. It wasn't the suffocating quiet of betrayal. It was a stillness of closure. I let my eyes roam over the house, the place that had once been ours. Felt empty, yes, but for the first time it also felt clean. I got up, walked into the bedroom, and grabbed a bag. I wasn't staying here either. I had a new life to start. This house was drenched in too many memories. Not just the recent ones, filled with deceit and heartbreak, but the old ones too. The laughter, the dreams we once built together, the whispered promises that had long since turned to dust. I didn't want to erase them, but I couldn't live among them anymore. Methodically, I packed just the essentials, clothes, documents, my laptop, a few things that actually matter to me. The rest could stay. It didn't feel like mine anymore. It was just a shell of a life I no longer belonged to. My phone buzzed. A message from my sister. You okay? I stared at the screen for a moment before typing back. Yeah, I will be. And I meant it. I walked to the front door and pulled it open, stepping outside. The crisp night air hit me, carrying the scent of approaching rain, fresh and clean, like the past was finally being washed away. For the first time in a long time, I breathed. I locked the door behind me, then slipped the key into the mailbox. I had no reason to hold on to it anymore. As I walked toward my car, I didn't glance back. Not at the house, not at the life I was leaving behind. I didn't need revenge. I just needed freedom.